At the OECD, we started to work on trade and circular economy since 2018, and it really started with one meeting where one trade expert said that we need free trade of waste as a valuable resource. And then at the same meeting, one environmental official said, oh, that's terrible because waste will end up in sinks, the cheapest sinks available in far corners in the world. It's really about to strike the right balance between trade and environment, assuring the comparative advantage and the economies of scale for waste as a valuable resource, while also ensuring the environmental sound management of waste when they reach end of life. So what can we actually do? This is really difficult because waste trade can happen between countries where there are differences in environmental policy stringency. They tend to shift from where the environmental policy stringency high to lower countries. And we also see that the recipient tends to have more environmental pressure. There's also a complication with the informal sector and illegal waste trade that we need to take into account. We also need to see two sides of the coin. How do we weed out the trade that we do not want to see, for instance, trade in hazardous waste, while also ensuring to facilitate that trade that we do want to see, such as trade in secondary materials. This is about the balance we want to achieve. The world right now is pretty much with a lot of developments on the first side, trying to restrict trade that we don't want to see. We see that, for instance, in the China import bans, also the Basel Amendments. In terms of trying to shift towards a more circular economy, we want to ensure to make a distinction between the trade that we don't want and the trade that we do want. How can we actually do this? Currently, with the harmonized system codes, the trade codes that we have in place, doesn't offer this type of granularity. So do we need some kind of amendments or resolutions to this? However, this is also very difficult because this is an extremely lengthy process. It could be revised every 5 years, and they could go from 5 years up to 10 years. So in this case, what else can we actually do as a practical solution? One way could be the prior informed consent between the two trading partners, but we also hear from the industry that this is also quite a lengthy process, more than what's actually stated on paper. So we need to ensure that this process or these schemes are implemented very well, and also try to see what kind of technologies or digital technologies there is currently today to actually facilitate this. For instance, digitalized custom procedures. One very important point I'd like to make is that we had this workshop on trade and circular economy, and although there is proposition and opposition on both sides to waste trade, there was pretty much a consensus that each side agrees that we do not want illegal waste trade. So to try to prevent this, we need more enforcement domestically, and we also need international cooperation in this area.